You gave me your
Who are you coming?
slave name, your address. I need a date of birth.
Okay.
1668. Okay.
All right.
And that's the last piece that I need for that. So you'll be getting some more information from me this week, probably in the next few days, okay? And if you need anything else, just give me a call. All right? All righty. All right. We will. What is his slave name?
Oh.
Something real white. I can't remember what it is right now.
Over, Robert.
But they have to have some idea of what it is that they're gonna do. If we're saying, okay, what we want to look at, because that whole what is it, that whatever the thing is that yesterday sent,
Yeah.
when you do the thing like that,
Yeah.
that if flying is the way or whatever, then we say, hey, this is what we're proposing, and people need to make payment plans or whatever it is that we do, or if it's going to be a van, the easiest rate is going to take this amount of time, and the van's going to cost this amount of money, and whether it be people do a car wash in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people they have to, in order to recognize being part of something bigger,
They have to raise.
they got to be. I'm saying they have to be hands on, not just about raising money. I'm saying a way for them to be able to participate, and we have to plan
Okay.
for how they can participate. Give a car wash in your area, something to be part of it. If not, it's like us giving them something.
Okay.
And if we're talking about a lot of what we talk about in terms of self-determination and the poor and working class, is people being able to participate. They're not able to participate in most things in life in their own freedom,
Okay.
their own liberation. So we need to create a way for them to be able to participate. And our time is waning down, so it has to be something that's attainable, something
Okay.
real. But the objective is for everybody to be able to participate in some kind of way or another. I want they should feel excited. It's like when the church organizes something, people, everybody, okay, we're going on a bus trip or whatever, it's gonna be $10. Well, people do things to figure out how to get the $10. If it's the choir determines if they're gonna give a car wash today to raise.
So what about people who are in their own places?
They
like
still
them,
can
just them
participate.
in their area.
They gotta do something. There's
Okay.
something they could do. They got friends, they got family. But how do we get
Oh, can you guys hear me? I see Revasai, Robert, Dia, Iquan. Let me remind Gail. All right. Y'all got the agenda up. Let me do this as well. Okay. All right. Uhuru, give people 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. And I'm going to do this as well. All right. Riverside got the agenda up. Okay. All right. Gail is checking. Crystal. One more minute. All right, Uhuru. It's Alikia, the choir director of the Freedom Mass Choir. Today is August 26th, and we are having a choir-wide meeting. In here with me, I have one of our tenors, Ikinge Mayele. And so far we have so we need the agenda in the, okay, so let me send the agenda here. So we have on the live stream, we have Robert from St. Louis, Dia St. Pete, Iquan St. Pete, Riverside, Houston, Crystal, St. Louis, and we have other people coming on. So this is exciting. We're building towards the 7th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party this October. The event is October 6th through 12th. Our performances October 6th through 8th. And we're just going to go over, all of what is needed to make this happen. Also to hear from everybody that has been participating with us so far. I don't know. I think I just open up with that. This is a, very important thing. We're going to go straight into our political education. And I'm reading from an article from the Burning Spear newspaper, which is titled, "Our Culture Must Be a Weapon We Use to Defeat Imperialism." And I'm going to put that link separate as well so that everybody in the chat can get it. So let me do that for you now. Uhuru Makeda, thank you for coming on. You want to be seen? No. You fine where you are? All right, so let me know when you guys have this article open. I am going to be skipping a few paragraphs, but the whole article is there for you in case anybody wants to go back and read it later. So, hopefully, I'm still seen even when I change tabs. African artists in the world have two choices to make: either represent the interests of oppressors or represent the interests of the oppressed. It does not matter how perfumed you are or what clothes and shoes you wear, you cannot avoid making the choice of whose interests you serve. Whose culture do you represent? The imperialist oppressor's culture or the culture of the oppressed African and other colonized peoples of the world? Culture is a way of life. We agree with those who say that culture is a way of life. It is about our food, arts, spirituality, and the way we do things, such as marriage, funeral, and etc. It is also true that for imperialists, culture is a way of life too. What determines your culture? The question of culture cannot be answered by way of life only. I just realized something. Who's Solstice? Because I thought that was Makeda. Uhuru Roberts. Solstice, is that Gail? Anyway, let me continue. The question of culture cannot be answered by way of life only. In the same way our mineral wealth is stolen from us by the imperialists, so too are our arts stolen from us. We must examine what gives rise to our way or to the oppressor's ways of life. That is how culture must be defined and understood. If not, we may end up loving our enemies and subscribing to all the enemy's programs to maintain the status quo at our expense. There is no such thing as an apolitical culture or an apolitical cultural artist. Culture in general does not exist. We all have the obligation to build a better world, a world without exploitation, without slaves and slaves' masters, poor and rich, workers and bosses, nor oppressed nations and oppressor nations. Every artist has to decide if they are going to hold up the African working class or the billionaires who make money by stealing our minerals, killing the people working the mines, and destroying the environment. Our culture and music are not a creation of X Factor, Sony, HMV, FNAC, Island Records, and other parasitic institutions who make more money than the Africans who produce the music in the first place. Factors, US, Got Talent, and EMI are all imperialists whose wealth is based on naked theft of our music at our expense. Arsenal FC, Chelsea FC, Barcelona F, and the sports equipment makers Nike, Puma, and Adidas are in our youth's brain. They are becoming part of our youth's identities all over Africa, even in the villages where there is no electricity. They reinforce a sense of pursuit of an individual solution to imperialism. Uhuru. Furthermore, they validate and reinforce our dependence on imperialism as the solution. Culture must serve the revolution. There is no doubt it is an absolute necessity to break with imperialism. We need a new society based on freedom and self-determination for all oppressed nations of the world. We must break with all the imperialist cultures of exploitation and oppression. It is one of the unanswered and unsettling questions of the Great Black Revolution of the 60s because of the military defeats of the Black Revolution, particularly in the Congo and the United States. Our future comes with the defeat of imperialism. Our future must be in our own hands. Our culture must be used to inform our young people of their responsibility to defend our people and community every day against imperialism. It is our young people's responsibility to snatch our future from imperialism, from Barcelona, Chelsea football clubs, the IMF, the UN, Madonna, Angelina Jolie, and others. What is the function of hip-hop, dancehall, soca, rumba, ndombolo, and other styles created by African people? Is it to be in peace with imperialism or to be the people's cultural weapons against imperialism? For the African Socialist International, we want our people's cultures to be weapons to defeat imperialism. The defeat of neocolonialism and the unification of the African nation as a single state for African people are the foundation and the guarantee of the new African national culture. Our culture will be born out of freedom and will contain all of the characteristics of African people, such as optimism, genuine and spontaneous friendships, matriarchy with full rights for women, etc. Street dance. You must be out of your mind. It is our people's dance. African music is not separate from dancing. We sing, dance, choreograph, and dress in a particular way, and we wear our hair with a certain style. Reggae is not street music. The dance that goes with reggae is not street dance, but our people's music, dance, and style. The same can be said about jazz, rap, blues, samba, etc. They came from African people, and there is no such thing as street music. Nobody refers to any white popular music as street music. This is done to undermine our consciousness, particularly young people's consciousness, to remove us from our role as the central makers and shapers of modern popular music, dance, and fashion in the world. It allows us to own at no cost what we have produced with our talent, sweat, and communal effort. Our popular music has been a result of collective creativity, despite the individual geniuses who have defined the general direction of our arts and cultures. Our art is not the result of some individual who sat under a tree and saw some lyrics dropping from a branch of the tree. Our art is people's interaction to reflect our reality, a dance to reflect our struggle for emancipation from slavery and colonialism. It is our people's future, and we must take it to serve our own. Uti's musical work was an example of the use of culture as a weapon to expose imperialism and neocolonialism. Uhuru. Who wrote this article? I just closed the tab, so I don't remember. But if you have the agenda, it's there, and you guys can read the full version. Thank you to everybody else who's still tuning in. And I just, think this was a really good article to really explain what we are doing with this Freedom Choir. All of us here are singers and or musicians. We have a love for the arts. We have a love for culture. We have a love for music, and we all united to being a part of the strategy to use music to turn what music has turned into, and it's been turned into a weapon against our people and in various forms. And I don't, mean to just talk about hip hop, because hip hop came as music from us, to resist, and it's been used against us. The same thing with music in the church, the same thing with dance hall, just R&B, just about any genre we've created. The colonizers has found a way to turn it against us. And what the Freedom Mass Choir does is that we turn it right back to how it was in the beginning. And us being at this Congress, is not light. It's not going to be like any other performance, that we will do this year or, for a while, basically until next Congress. It's not like any other thing that's taking place anywhere else in the world. So, I just can't stop thanking y'all for, uniting with this strategy. And if anybody wants to add anything in the comments, you guys can comment, or if Akinge wants to say anything, nope. Okay. All right. So, to speak to the Congress, some of us, those of us who are in the movement, we have other roles at the Congress, and some of us in the choir are not in the party or in PDM. So that's a very, very special thank you to you. But I just want to, say that this is the highlight of the Congress. And one of my favorite movies is Drumline. Not one of my favorite movie period is Drumline. And like one of my favorite scenes is when all the different, instruments are in their groups, and then the section leaders are telling that group why they're the most important part of the band. And not in a way to demean everybody else, but just to raise everybody to understanding the significance of what they're doing. So like the drum, the leader of the drum line was saying we're the heartbeat, and the leader of the saxophones was saying we're the soul, whatever. Well, the Freedom Mass Choir is the culture of the Congress. And that, that's it. So we're going to move forward with this agenda. And If you, Dia says, I unite with the strategy of the Freedom Mass Choir. So we are performing Saturday, October 6th, Sunday, October 7th, Monday, October 8th. And the songs we are performing is the Anthem for the African Nation, which we will be learning not this Tuesday, next Tuesday is when we go over that song. The Anthem for the African Nation, which is, another strategy of the party where, we're not singing, the Star Spangled Banner. We're not even singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. We are having our own official anthem for the African nation. As you guys can see this flag behind me. The red, black, and green flag is a flag that had been voted on by Marcus Garvey and the UNIA convention about 100 years ago as the official flag for the African nation. Red representing the blood of African people, black representing African people, green representing the land itself, Africa. So we do have our own anthem. We're also singing "Fighting for Freedom," which was the first song we learned. On Sunday, we're singing "Africa's My Homeland, I'm African," the Black Power song and the Freedom song, which are the two songs we covered last week, and we will be going over again this week. We Are Soldiers, Optimistic, and then the African Nation Fight song. So you guys do have the schedule. Uhuru and Kole. If the order of the songs change, everybody will be notified. But this one for sure, the Anthem for the African Nation is definitely the first song that we will sing. And the African Nation Fight song is definitely the last song that we will be singing. So those two are not being changed. All right, so roll call. We're still ahead of time, but roll call. I have confirmed myself, the director, Ikinge, a tenor, Dia, a tenor. Let's see, Iquan, who came on as a trombonist, but lately has been functioning as a tenor/baritone. Makeda, our St. Louis coordinator, who is an alto, not also. Revasai, alto. Raymond, keyboardist. Christine, soprano. Walia, soprano. Crystal, Uhuru Crystal. She's an alto. Robert White is a baritone. Pocket, our drummer. And Kole, guitarist. Eric, or Smooth, a saxophonist. Gail, my girl Gail, alto. Anthony Edwards, tenor. Robert Hubert, I got an asterisk by your name because I know you play instruments. So I'm looking at you as a bassist. We have Owami as a singer, tenor, and we have Chiwo Niso as our trombonist. So as it is right now, this is the choir, the band that we're looking at, which is about half of our membership. And, at this point, today is September 26th. To me, this is it. August. Thank you. August 26th. This is it. The latest, absolute latest that we can get a confirmation would be September 5th, which is a month before the last rehearsal of the Freedom Mass Choir. Everything else will be working to consolidate, the actual performances themselves. So when people watch this back, if you have not confirmed and only 5 people have told me that they can't make the performance, and they've made it clear that although they can't make this performance, they want to stay in the choir past the Congress. So excluding those 5, anybody else who has not confirmed whether they are singing with us or not, you have until September 5th. After that, you're just here for the next event. So if anybody have any questions, you can leave any comments. If you have any comments, you can leave any comments. And I'll read them. If anything's unclear, I'm seeing them on the side right here. And we have 11 people watching with us. So the next step, the next point of this conversation is fundraiser. Well, the fundraiser and then fundraisers. So we have gone on to create a fundraiser. That's FUNDRAZR, and it's a crowdfunding platform, similar to a GoFundMe. You carrying, all those type of things, and this is to able to help get choir members to the choir. But also, I would like that everybody be hands on in participating with, getting us or getting yourself even to St. Louis this October 6th through 8th. And as I've said, like, for example, those of you guys in St. Louis, organizing car washes, fish fries, whatever you have to do, because it's a good number of you guys over there. So you guys can definitely have a collectivized or group effort to help raise resources, even though you're already in St. Louis, but, the cost of registration for the event and, what our attire and stuff like that, that needs to be accommodated for. Okay, so Pocket is responding to the email, but I don't know if it's... Now, for those who are, elsewhere, like in Miami and Orlando, there's still, this is where I want to hear from you. What efforts are you going to be making to make it to St. Louis, to get to St. Louis, or to help the choir raise resources to get you there performing with us. Do you have anything you want to say now?
I want to hear from what people's plans are. How are they planning on getting there? What are their thoughts? How long are they staying? We know where the performances are. Do people have family or friends or whatever? What are the needs? We need to find out what people need.
All right.
So that we can better gauge our efforts in terms of fundraising. And then, like I said, everyone needs to participate, possibly take a list of things, if we can come up with some creative ideas that people can, that people have, that they can do in their area. Obviously, St. Louis, there is less for them to do, but how can they contribute to the whole to get people from other areas there? Are they able to house people? Various different things. All those things we need to look at and lay out over the course of the next couple of weeks. But the biggest is, what was people's plans on getting there outside of the area?
Outside of the area. So we have Rebecca who says right now she's looking at a bus and train to get there. I'd like to hear from Nkole, how, what your plans are. Dia, Iquan, how the travel is looking for you. By what date do you expect to make it to St. Louis? How long you're staying or able to stay? And as Akinge just said, which I did not even think about, but I do appreciate those in St. Louis, how you can, you do have less to do, but how you can help the choir. Is anybody able to house anybody? Just what work can be done. Robert, I'm seeing Makeda, Crystal. Dia will be there a week before. Okay, so Dia is proposing. He says, I'll be... Okay, all right, these are coming in. Dia says, I'll be in St. Louis a week before the Congress. How I'm getting there is still in question. I think locally, Alikia, you can organize a Freedom Mass Choir Culture Night as a fundraiser night. Dia, I'm going to see you right after this meeting. And I unite with that. I think that's a really, really good idea. Chrissy. A candy sale. A candy sale. I think that's a good idea, and it's not a pizza sale and a candy sale, and those are not childlike ideas. Okay, you're right. You ended it with right. Folks love to eat. Okay, so yeah, pizza sales, candy sales. Chrissy is in St. Louis, so Makeda, I hope you're jotting that down. Robert, you're also in St. Louis. You know, you guys could have a Freedom Esquire, pizza and candy sale. Iquan is still consolidating his plan, but he's trying to stay the whole time. So right now we have, let me write this. Let me write other fundraisers. And how soon can these be organized? Can these be organized by, let's say, at least the first one within 2 weeks? Fish fry. Oh, is that too far? Robert, okay, I'm writing all this down. Robert cannot help with housing, but he can help with transportation, especially those coming from the airport. Thank you. So let's see. We have Crystal. Anybody else? Anything else? All right, so I'm going to say that St. Louis has to organize its first pizza, fish fry,
Or whatever
it is.
They need to collectivize. They need to meet. And determine what it is that they're going to do. But something needs to happen within the next, within the next week.
Or the sale itself has to happen between the week.
If they take next week and say what it is that they're going to do, then the next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To execute it.
Yeah. So today is Sunday, August 26th. The sale, like the event itself, whether it's a fish fry, pizza sale, candy sale, needs to happen by September 9th, which means that you guys have this week, by September 2nd, you guys need to have had a meeting laying out with the plan what, the 9th will look like. Or even if it's not the 9th, it could be the 7th, it could be the 8th, whatever. But so by next week, by next Sunday, St. Louis should be having a meeting laying out what the plan is so that the first sale can happen by the 9th. And then, I would like at least 2 to happen before August 1st. Chrissy will start to speak to...
August 1st is past.
October 1st, I'm sorry. Chrissy will speak to her school to find out how to start. So I'm going to put that out. Thank you, Crystal.
Where is she located?
St. Louis. All right. Anybody else? Do we have the St. Pete crew? Iquan, do we have any other ideas besides a culture night? What could be done? I think our own pizza sale could be good as well. So, culture night with food, I guess. And I'm scheduling that we meet by Sunday as well. Hopefully sooner, but that we meet by Sunday to have something set. If nothing else, I'm going to push forward with this agenda, and then if we need to come back, we can come back a bit later. So the actual fundraiser.
What about the people in, who else is on from a different area?
Walia isn't on, but she's from Jersey and she's in the choir.
Okay. So we got New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is not on and is either not in St. Pete
Mm-hmm.
or not in St. Louis?
We have someone named Owami who's in Miami.
Okay. They're not on?
He's not on this live. We have Nkole, who's in Orlando, who's on this live.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that these people need to, I don't know if they're responding on the chat or whatever, saying what their plan is, but we need to hear from everybody that is on the call. St. Louis can consolidate their area. People that are outside of St. Pete, we need to hear from them, because is it possible for them to come here or participate in some kind of a collectivized effort from Florida to raise resources and develop a plan for everybody to
I think that can happen. I know that the one in Miami, he only joined, it hasn't been 2 weeks yet, so like a little over a week. And he did say if he needs to come to St. Pete, it can't be every week, but he can come.
All right, I'm just suggesting that we say when the Florida forces can meet, and if that means getting people that are not on the live chat or whatever now, let's say that we're gonna reach out to them today, tomorrow, and set a date for when everybody can be in St. Pete, or either on a meeting, and then 2 in St. Pete to collectivize our fundraising strategy.
All right, so the action item is for me to get. Okay, so Crystal says my school is down the street from the Uhuru House, and she has a lot of ideas to raise resources. So thank you, Crystal. We really, 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 really appreciate that. But the action item is for me, and I'm saying this so that when I watch the recording, I know, to contact Owami as well as Nkole, who are also in Florida. See, and then the forces here, see when we can consolidate a meeting, and then also the actual fundraiser to happen. So I think we've heard everybody else here right now is mostly St. Louis and St. Pete people. Riverside, you have any fundraiser plans? I know you say you're taking, you're doing bus and train. What you doing? You cooking and selling food? What you doing? All right, so while I'm waiting for Riverside to comment, I'm going to go on to the next part, which is another fundraiser. Like besides our hands-on fundraiser, there is a general fundraiser that is created. And I'm going to go back and budget everything because, I'm going to re-budget everything. But we do have a fundraiser that's set, and it's a crowdfunding fundraiser that will be launched. And it's to can I get an answer by Tuesday? Chrissy, does this friend have a website? She says she has a good friend who has African attire that might be a bit cheaper. Does this friend, or just anything that we can see, because I'm definitely open to that, especially if they're already in St. Louis. That would, get rid of shipping costs. But Chrissy just kind of hinted at something I'm going to talk about a bit in a few minutes. But this fundraiser is that, to get people that are outside of us to, donate and support getting us to the Congress. And everybody has the responsibility besides what we're doing. Yes. Besides what we're doing in our area. So besides what St. Louis is doing, besides what St. Pete or Florida is doing, there is a general one that we can share. We can get people to, donate, whether it's people we go at our hair salons or, at churches, schools, churches, schools, just anywhere. And then, of course, jobs. Jobs, and people who we have on our social media and stuff like that we can share this link and circulate this link. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make everyone a team member, and you can choose like what level team members people are, but basically the team member I'm assigning for everybody is just that they have access to sharing sharing it to everybody, and that we have that we get people donating. I think that part
part of, I don't know if the, whatever the crowd fundraiser thing has the ability for people to be able to upload videos. I think it would be important for everyone, especially those that are in St. Louis, because that is where the Congress is going to be held, which I anticipate we'll be able to get a lot of support from, that people can make a short video of themselves singing or why it is they are going to be participating in this choir for the 7th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party, and why they are encouraging people to donate, that they should see the excitement in the person, that the choir member, in terms of recognizing, what they're a part of. I think that can be helpful in terms of helping to raise resources. And I haven't seen. I have to look at the link and see what the verbiage. I
actually added you as a team member, so you can see more than the average person.
All right.
I'm gonna mute.
My suggestion in terms of how we can, because we've got about 6 weeks before the actual Congress.
Yeah.
And we want to rapidly, raise as much money as possible.
Makeda Unites, give me a second, please. So, Makenge?
Yeah, Uhuru, I think that Makeda being the team leader or the lead in that area would be really exciting for her to upload a video or do a piece to put on the crowdfunding site. I'm sure that just being an artist, she's can excite either other artists in the area, as well as just people that she knows, in terms of creating a level of excitement. One, to get more people to participate. I don't think it's too late for other people to join the choir. I don't know.
It's never too late to join, but
this is really, I just want to stress for everyone that is listening and participating in this process, that this is really, you're part of something that is going to be historical, that you are part of making and creating history that we intend to further. So I hope that everybody's excited about what it is that we're doing, not just the singing part, but just the actual being able to perform and really being able to create a part of history. So I want people to keep that in mind as they're going about their fundraising efforts, learning the songs. But I'm really excited about this Congress. I am a member of the African People's Socialist Party, and this is the 3rd Congress that I will have participated in, and that this is really a pivotal point in history, and each of you is a part of it. So internalize that, because we're about to make history.
Yeah, Uhuru, we are making history. I unite with that. I really appreciate that. I see that Makeda unites. I want to get some unity from other people. I can say that one thing I have already begun doing is, besides, uploading the rehearsals, I've been chopping the rehearsals into different clips too that will be uploaded, at least twice a week. So that, to keep life on the crowdfunding fundraiser. But I do appreciate, people, the idea of people making videos of why they're in this choir, and the importance of getting us to the Congress. We do have a general video that is already in process as well, and it should be completed today. So Makeda, we got Unity. Can I hear from Riverside? Can you make a video? 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, singing, speaking, just getting people to donate to thing, getting people to join, getting people to even attend the Congress itself. Dia, Crystal, Rob, Iquan, and Cole, Gail, Robert. Oh, we got two Roberts. Okay, Rashid Rob. Okay, so there's Robert and then there's Rashid Rob. So yeah, I want to get some I unites from y'all. Robert unites. Revasai, I need some unity. Dia, and we can say that if the fun. Okay, so yeah, the due date. I'm going to create a schedule today, and you guys will get the schedule today. So the first one will be the general video, and then it's going to be, you guys will get the schedule today of when your due date is due. And again, everybody's going to be made a team member with access to this fundraiser to be able, thank you, Revasai, to see what's going on with the fundraiser and, share and get people to donate. So the next part, I'm trying to close this. The next part is our attire. And as you can see, Crystal, I hope you're still on. I did give some examples of what I was looking at in terms of our look at the Congress, at least for those 3 days. And Crystal is going, come on. Crystal says that her talk show starts next Sunday, so she will be mentioning this in her show. Ooh, oh my gosh. All right, cut the dramatics. Anyway, so Crystal does have a contact who has African style clothing. So please, if you can get that to me, today, if you could send me that link right after this ends, or you can just text me now, whatever, or call me later, so that we can, check her stuff out, because I'm definitely more than open. I had just been looking on, on different websites for, different, African type of things. Also things that have sets. And all right, she'll do that today. And what I mean by sets is like, it doesn't have to be, if the pattern is on a women's clothes, that the pattern exists amongst the men things too. So that's kind of what I was looking for. But we can definitely see what your friend has. So, but you guys get a general sense of what the look will be, what the look we're going for. You guys can hook it up in your own manner, wear your own accessories. And I wanted to be clear about some of the things, like if you look at the picture where it says Day 1 Women, I should have just highlighted skirt. So, I was just specifically looking at the skirt, and your top is depending on you. And again, this is not yet considering Crystal's contact. Or like,
so these are suggestions, these are proposals that you're making.
Yes.
In terms of what you think it could look like. What I might suggest,
what it look like.
That the theme is one, that we promote the red, black, and green, obviously, and that's one thing. Number two, African, in terms of our identity, is the other. But I think that a basic theme should be black, because it'll be easier to accessorize if we saying black pants, black skirt, black shirt, all black, because all it can take is a wrap.
Yeah.
To accessorize. I mean, because that might be something that would be easy to get. But if everybody's got on black pants or a black skirt, all you can, it's easy to add color or life or whatever.
So like different color head wraps.
Well, I think that if we're looking for uniformity, I mean, we haven't looked at the other content. What I'm thinking about is cost, and also being able to get something in bulk and get it quickly. Because African fabric, I mean, the print, I mean, there are lots of fabric that we could probably buy, possibly in bulk. And then we learn to wrap for the men, maybe sashes, or for the women, it's something to add to the skirt, so that we can have uniformity, but do it. Africans are very creative, and that's one of the things I've learned from a lot of the, what do you call it, events that we've had here, just watching the way they take the cloths and wrap them. A lot of things that we can do really quickly and inexpensively.
Yes. So we got some unity from Crystal. All right. So yeah, Rashid Rob, I saw that you retracted your comment, but so you are still trying to organize from Riviera Beach. Now,
where is that, in Florida?
In Florida. It's not all the way at Fort Lauderdale, but
okay.
Yeah, closer.
Okay.
If they were to go to an airport, they would have to use Fort Lauderdale's airport, basically. So Rashid Rob,
a couple of hours away, basically.
Yeah.
3, 4.
From here, I'd say about 3. It's closer than Miami.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Just like when we go on a cruise, we take a bus, and if we go to Fort Lauderdale, I think it's about 3-4 hours with stops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Riviera Beach is in the area. So, okay, I'm repeating these comments so that I can, we can have them, because I know that once this video is saved, this chat will disappear. Crystal has united to having to dedicating a whole episode of her show to the choir, and Makeda will be an interviewee.
Oh, good.
Promoting the choir. So that's one note. Rashid Rob is the president of a marching band, the president of the Sounds of Success marching band in Riviera Beach. And at one point, he told me that they were having a bit of issues because some of the students had to be reprimanded, and then their friends quit. But he says that he's still trying to organize them. So, Rashid, can you give me an estimate of how many, students you are
organizing to participate in the choir?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, organizing to to participate. And then he himself plays bass, but yeah. So please, Rashid, please give me a solid answer. I would say by Tuesday as well. How many students, I don't know if these are high school students or what, that you are organizing, and then also what your organizing fundraising efforts are. You were there at the part of the conversation where we're talking about, doing car washes, pizza sales, candy sales, and things like that, and how we can contribute to that as well. And Cole got your message. So, I unite with the idea of, again, these were just proposals of the general look that we're going for. We weren't going to get the whole sets. But if we can do black or, and have fabrics, different head wraps. I'm not a head wrap person, but if I got to do it, then I got to do it. Crystal, I just need your contact, basically. I just need your contact. So if anybody else has any questions or comments, just leave them there and I'll read them. The next part of this conversation is, we're doing good on schedule. Okay. The next part of this conversation is rehearsal space in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, and Crystal, if I can I know that you're going to give me the contact today. If I can get numbers by tonight as well, I can go and edit our goal on the fundraiser. Because a lower goal on a fundraiser, people are more likely to donate because they don't feel intimidated by the number. You know what I'm saying? So if you present people with a $10,000 goal and they're only going to give $20, they may be like, well, my $20 is not going to do anything. They may feel intimidated by it. But also a lower goal number not only will get more people to support, but also it's easier to surpass that goal as well. And of course, in the goal that I calculated so far, I added cushion. Yeah. So I lose my words. Rehearsal space in St. Louis. Now, Makeda, you can correct me, but I did see your comments this morning. But part of it is that we have been able to consolidate, or we can consolidate rehearsal space at a church. I don't know the name of this church, but it would have to be done by 5. And I know that school has just started again, but I do want to consider that at least for weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. Makeda, was weekends considered in this conversation if we were to have rehearsals at Sister Tumpe's church on Saturdays and or Sundays in St. Louis, Missouri? And not only on an ongoing basis, but also especially in the middle of September, where it's I'm expecting to come in. My office is still the Kinge and I work in the same office, as well as our leadership chairman, Amaya Stella, is still organizing to get me to St. Louis for what I'm calling a mini choir intensive. Yes, for a mini choir intensive. Makeda, I don't know if you're there, if you heard that question, but was weekends in the conversation when having this when speaking to Tumpe about using her church? It would be available to us as long as we're done by 5.
What, every day or?
That's what I'm asking. Like that's what I'm asking. Sheesh. Okay. That's what I'm asking to see. Did she consider? Okay, so that was weekdays. So she says it's the Empowerment Center. I'm on the bus right now, so it can be in Saturday, so I don't get stuck. Okay, so you'd rather be on a Saturday. Okay, so it's the Empowerment Center. I'm copying this. Weekends were not discussed. Makeda, can you follow up with Tumpe and see if weekends can be a part of this discussion? If not, I do want to know weekdays, what people's schedules look like. Crystal, what does your schedule look like? Robert, okay, you're done with school by 2, so you can do weekdays. Okay, so meetings. And,
I think Makeda, as the director in that area, should take a poll and find out what the best day is. You know what I'm saying, for everyone.
Okay.
And then even if a weekend is necessary in terms of the I forgot, what did you call it?
The mini intensive?
Yeah, the mini intensive. Find out, schedule it. It possible. I think it's possible that it could still be used on the weekend. Just have to, consolidate when that would be and what time.
All right. So, Makeda, have you heard that? So it's up to you. I unite. I will. Okay. All right. So Makeda will ask Tumpe today, and then also speak to the St. Louis. Makeda, you do have the spreadsheet of all the choir members, but I can send that to you again, and it says, like where they're from, what city and state, to see what their schedule looks like, to see when we can consolidate rehearsals. Right now, it's looking like weekdays would be best for St. Louis, and that leads to the next part, which is organizing. Once that's consolidated, we would also organize between, the week of September. Let's see, between the 12th and I guess 17th, it would be. When this mini intensive would take place, I would like it to be at least 3 separate days, because it is a lot of songs that we're going over, and I don't want it to be a cramming session, so that we can do 2 songs today, we're comfortable, 2 songs this day, 2 songs that day, whatever. Where I would be in St. Louis for the rehearsals. So that is something else that me, Makeda, and I will consolidate once we have Tumpe's church consolidated as a rehearsal space. Does anybody else have any other places they can think of while I have you guys here? Chrissy, Robert, does anybody else have know any other places in St. Louis that we can have as a backup spot to have our rehearsals? Not only in September, but also, if we can get it on an ongoing basis like we do here in St. Pete, that would be great. And the only stipulation is that it has to be somewhere that's willing to lend us their space for free, win them to letting us use the space for free. And they will be documented in history.
And if not free, then minimal.
Yeah, if not free, then minimal.
I think that we should be considering, making donations. If there are 10 people there that are members of the choir at the end of the night,
yeah,
if everybody pitch in $3-4 or whatever, maybe there's $50-60 that can be given to the church, or whatever facility it is as a donation. Just something to consider.
Yes. Something like
free.
What they would call an offering. But yeah, so any other places in St. Louis? Anybody have any connects? As Ikenga just said, it may not necessarily be free, but minimal, that where the choir, where we can actually support that place for supporting us, basically. All right. So Christy can give the information to the Nehemiah program. Can you give that to myself and Makeda, please? Or Makeda, I'm writing it here. That's Christy, Crystal. What am I typing? Okay. All right, so we got that. So the next part is the Congress. Well, yeah, I kind of just went into, the choir intensive itself. Just to say that we have a total of 8 songs that are being performed. We have learned 6. We're going to review number 5 and 6 again this week. We learned the 2 of them together last week. We're going to review them again. Then we got to butter her up. Okay, we can do that. Then we're going to review those 2 songs on, this Tuesday as well. And if time permits, go into the next song number 7. I would say 7 or 8. There's one that I'm kind of considering just being the band to showcase the band, but I'll know that very soon. And I forgot to mention that there is a lead guitarist that I did not mention. His name is Judy, and he's in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah, we've learned most of the songs. And at this intensive, it's going to be a review of those songs. So it's going to be going back to Fighting for Freedom, going back to We Are Soldiers, going back to the African Nation Fight song, going over the Black Power song, over the Freedom song. And then when I come back to St. Pete, we continue those rehearsals. The last month of rehearsals, the last 3 weeks at least of rehearsals will be nothing but not old songs, but reviews to make sure that we know these songs like water, okay? That we know these songs like we know, well, you don't really know yourself. Like we know these songs, basically. And, during the last week on October 2nd, which is a Tuesday, we will be having an in-person rehearsal that Tuesday. I know that Dia will already be there. I will already be there. Some of us from Florida will already be there. We are having an in-person rehearsal Tuesday, October 2nd. I've also scheduled a rehearsal with the program committee of the Congress and the logistics committee of the Congress. One to take place at Better Family Life on Friday, October 5th. And the first 2 days of the Congress are taking place at Better Family Life. And the third day is taking place at the Uhuru House in Aquaba Hall. So we do have a 90-minute rehearsal scheduled at Better Family Life on Friday. I just have to get the exact time of the start and end. And that is, we're talking about rehearsing everything. Sitting together, how we walk on the stage, singing, what the intros of the songs are going to be. All of that is going to be, we're going to be going over that. And then we have another rehearsal on that same Friday at Aquaba Hall again, because this Friday will be the Friday that all the musicians will be there. So we can set up our instruments. Well, we'd have to do Aquaba Hall first and then Better Family Life. But, to see what we're going to look, how we're going to, placement and all that stuff at Aquaba Hall. So that's what the last week is going to look like. And from the program committee, when I'm at the Congress protocol, there are requests that have been made that I'm following up on to make sure that they happen. And it's that when it comes to the first song, the very, 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 very first song that we sing, which is the anthem for the African nation, it comes right after the processional of the National Central Committee of the African People's Socialist Party. And when, they're going to have this dynamic presentation and this intro, we're not going to be inside for that. Or if we are inside, we're going to be on the side for that. And meaning that we're not going to be in the audience at that point. We're going to be somewhere else. And then we're going to come out after they're introduced. That's like a 15, 20-minute process. Then we come out, instruments playing. We come out, we sing the anthem for the African nation. And then from then on, we will be seated together. We will have reserved seating. And the reason why we're having reserved seating for the first 3 days is so that, any other time we have to perform, we're already together. And, when we're rising up out of our seats, it's not you coming from the back and you over here and I was at the restroom. No, we're all together. We go on stage together. Another request that was made that will, happen is that lunch is scheduled for an hour on those days. So for the first 3 days, and I keep emphasizing 3 days because that's the days we're performing. Anybody who wants to stay for the whole week, you can do that. But our focus is the 3 days. Lunch is an hour. And, the request has been made that the choir members are some of the first people to eat, because on those 3 days, we are the first thing that happens after lunch. When I'm looking at the program, it says, lunch is ended. Then we reconvene, reconvene with the MC, and then boom, the Freedom Mass Choir. So we have to get our food, eat, be done. If you got to use the restroom, use the restroom. If you got to do this, you do that, whatever. Go back on stage at least 5 minutes before the MC, right? Or at least 5 to 10 minutes before the MC. Then, when the actual reconvening, takes place, people start getting back into the hall. We're on stage. The musicians are where they are. The MC is calming everybody down, saying we're going to continue with part 2 of the day. And then we're already on stage. And then after that, we get off stage. We go back to our reserved seating. And then we have one more performance later that day.
All this will be rehearsed when you're there, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that it would be important to make sure that people have, even if it's possible, once we get the final program, that the portions of the choir are shared with the choir
with
members.
The times we're singing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in the agenda.
Or I'm just saying that people have access to it even during the rehearsals, so that they're clear on what it is that's being asked of them.
Yeah, we want to look. We don't want to just sound good. We want to look good. Okay, and so the rehearsal at Better Family Life, that is again a 90-minute rehearsal, and then of course a separate 60-minute rehearsal at Aquaba Hall on top of the rehearsal that we're setting for ourselves on that Tuesday. And I am proposing 2 roles for now. And it's just different coordinators. I'm proposing Pocket, when he sees this, to be the one to make sure that the musicians are where they need to be. Pocket is our drummer. So that, let's say it's after lunch and I'm like, okay, we're about to go on stage. Pocket, where's the guitarist, where's the bassist, where's the keyboardist? Y'all sitting, y'all ready? Because as soon as I do, then whatever. And this, how they always be playing The drummers start the song, really. The drummers start the music. And then same thing, Makeda with the singers. To make sure, okay, all the sopranos, y'all in this order, the altos, y'all in this order, tenors, baritone, y'all in this order. And, we're about to get on stage or we all sit it together, just to help ease the process. Basically, it'll be the three of us, as it is right now, making sure that everybody is in place and where they need to be when we need them to be there. So we got that. Is that clear to y'all? Is that clear to y'all? Y'all got any questions, any comments, any suggestions? I'm going to give y'all like a minute to answer. I ain't even got no more water. No suggestions. Well, is it clear then, Riverside? Are we getting unity? Is this unity? Is this unity that I'm hearing? Is this unity that I'm seeing? Aquan unites. Riverside, you unite? You're going to review this again. Yes, this video, Chrissy Unite. This video will, once the chat ends, it'll be up. So yes, you guys will have it to review, as well as some form of minutes to review. So we're now at really the ending of the business, and I just want to hear from y'all how this experience has been. We got unity from Robert White. I want to hear how this experience has been, anything that can be improved and how the lessons are put up, anything that can be changed. I was just thinking this morning, at the end of each rehearsal, instead of putting a long video, maybe I should, because I did it once for 1 week, just put up a video that just says sopranos, blah, 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 altos, blah, blah. I mean, let me know what you guys think. Dia Unite, especially for those of you guys that are not here in St. Pete, anything that, could help make this work better for you as far as how the songs are being taught, how they're being learned, and all those things. We got unity from Nkole. All right, Riverside is enjoying the experience. Anything that can be improved? No? So y'all telling me this is perfect? I don't believe y'all. All right, Chrissy says she's learning a lot. Riverside says she likes hearing the other tones while learning hers so she can imagine how it sounds all together. Yeah. I think it's been very helpful. And I think it's been helpful that, especially with, at least for us in St. Louis, we do have Dia, who is tenor. And when I need him to sing in his falsetto to give us what the sopranos would do, he does it. Iquan, who balances between baritone and tenor as well. And then myself, who, if I'm not too focused on playing correctly, I can keep the alto line. I think it gives a sense of what we're going for, what it's going to be. So I do see what you mean, Riverside, with being able to hear other tones. We trying the hardest to get all the voices, at one given time. All right, so if nothing else, right now I'm just going to If nothing else right now, let me look at this agenda. Yeah, if nothing else right now, I just want to, thank everybody who came on to this meeting. We still have 8 people here with us. Put the lyrics under the video. I can do that. So change the description box to the lyrics. I got you. Somebody else actually asked me to send them all the lyrics in like one document so they could print instead of sending it link by link. So I'm going to edit the description boxes and add the lyrics of the songs there. Yeah, because the comments would be too long. So when you guys see the video, no problem. When you guys see the video, just click more info or description, whatever it is, see more, whatever that, some type of term like that. And then the lyrics will be there. So that will be done by today or by tomorrow. That's a great idea. Thank you, Crystal. So review. So we got St. Louis by September 2nd has to have a meeting on what their fundraiser is going to be. September 9th, the first fundraiser has to happen. The options are either pizza sales, fish fries, or candy sales. St. Pete, we are organizing to see when, or the Florida contingent can have our meeting. It can be either conference call or in person, and then organize in that meeting for the actual fundraiser, which could be a culture night with food sales. Let's see. Crystal is going to speak to her school to see how they can start with fundraising. Robert is going to help with transportation when it comes to the Congress itself. Crystal is recommending the Nehemiah program, who has a nice space that the Uhuru Choir can use. Makeda is going to have another conversation with Tunpe to see if weekends are available to us for the choir, as well as finding out from the St. Louis contingent when rehearsals could be held. Let's see. And she's looking at the Empowerment Center. We have Crystal, who's going to send me her contact that has the your African attire contact. We have myself, who's going to make the choir members team members of the fundraiser so that they can have access to sharing this fundraiser. We have all choir members making videos about why they joined the choir, the importance of us being at the Congress, and urging people to join the choir, as well as support getting us to the Congress. I think I've got it all. And then myself to edit the videos to add the descriptions. So with that, there's no real reason to hold anybody much longer, and you guys have the rest of the day to yourselves. So I want to thank everybody once again for coming on. Anybody who's seeing this afterwards, remember that if I did not read your name off in the list earlier, you have until September 5th to confirm your presence with us at the Congress. Otherwise, you're still in the choir, but yeah. So uhuru means freedom, and we out. Want to say uhuru, Kinga?
Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right.